Hello there. I feel like celebrating today. And I'm celebrating with a walk. That's the first time I've been able to walk in over a week like a normal person. And it feels so good. So I'm just appreciating this garden. I love this garden. The wildflowers, and it's a particular delight and joy of mine. Oh man, it feels so good. So I had my therapy yesterday. I've made films about Bowen therapy before, and I actually haven't had Bowen therapy since I lived in Accrington in Lancashire, which means it's got to be quite a while ago. And wow, it's done the job. I'm balanced again. It feels so amazing, having been out of balance for some time, to be back in balance. It feels so good. So that's why I'm making this film, walking. And my feeling is a bit of toxins that's still hanging about will discharge so much more easily. Now I'm in balance. So when I went to my therapist yesterday, incredibly lucky, my Bowen therapist has a practice about 4 minutes away from where I live. And I was walking in an incredibly balanced way. I had no idea, but my whole body was listing over to the right. It's the first thing she noticed about me. And her Bowen is perhaps the most amazing Bowen I've had so far, because there's a fancy name for it, but basically what it means is, as well as doing her normal Bowen therapy, she's also constantly identifying what's going on in my body through some process that she uses. So she's able to very quickly check on the effect of what she's doing. So after the session, I walked out of that therapy room feeling like my body was erect and in balance, and that was great. But she also did something no Bowen therapist has ever done. She gave me a homeopathic remedy. She's also a qualified homeopath too. And she gave me Arnica 30 and said, you'll inevitably have side effects after the Bowen, you know that, which of course I did. And she says, when you feel the need, just have these up to 3 times a day. I'll only have had them once, and that was late yesterday afternoon, and 2 hours later it was like, whoa, yeah, this physical balancing that had been achieved after the session extended out into my whole being, and my whole being, mind, emotions, spirit, everything felt so fantastically balanced. So yeah, I'm very grateful, very happy, and incredibly relieved to be feeling like this. So good. So this is a part 2 of the India integration. I did allude to this at the end of the last film. So Raksara picked me up from the station with her partner Dan and drove me back home. And something happened as soon as we arrived, which actually is what threw me out of balance. But I didn't properly understand that until yesterday evening. So, let me explain. So, the person who'd been looking after my house while I was away, when she opened the door, rather than greeting us, she had a bit of a go at us actually, and it was having a go at me and also at Sarah as well. And it's like, why did you come through the front door? I was expecting you to go through the back door. Fairly trivial thing, no big deal, but there was a lot of emotion in that. And in fact, there was so much more that was not being said. But I didn't understand that at the time. But what I now realise, with hindsight, is that little blast that we both received actually was a very clear attempt to shut us down, and to shut me down in particular. And in fact, when Sarah left, because I didn't know what was going on with this person at the time, and I says, well, I've just spent best part two days in aeroplanes and airports. What I need to do now is to go into wild nature. Do you fancy spending a bit of time in wild nature with me? It's a beautiful place. It's like, the answer I got was no, I'm leaving. And I was a bit surprised. I said, okay, well, if you really, but I was going to take you to the stop and all the rest of it. No, I'm leaving on my own. I'm not waiting for you, and that's it, I'm leaving. So it was like, oh, okay. So what I realised is the whole experience for me was like, as immediately I arrived back home, I got shut down. And that means that actually a really deep trauma was being triggered by this person, quite unconsciously. She'd have had no idea what she was doing, and in fact, with the hindsight that it's capable to have after the event, I'm actually very grateful to her that she did this, because it helped me to realise to what extent I'm still a prisoner of early life events. Only the really gratifying thing is no longer. And actually my therapist does say that she also finds that her brain works very well with trauma. I didn't pay too much attention. I just wanted my back to be straight enough to walk properly. That's all I was interested in at that time. Well, anyway, it's proved to be true. And I'm so happy and so grateful that this is the case. So I've just come to this tree. Let's just show you it, because it's magnificent. And actually I feel it's an allegory for life. It's an oak tree. Look at those leaves. And oak trees are about endurance. Oak trees routinely in the UK contain up to about 230 different pests and diseases. And rather than collapsing under the weight, they say, bring it on. I can handle that. So oak trees in the Celtic tree oracle are all about endurance. And what's really sweet about this oak tree is, when I pan down the trunk all the way to the base, you will see it's an elder tree. An elder tree is actually growing in an oak tree, and I think that's absolutely magnificent. So I'm going to leave you on this park, and I'm going to carry on my walk, and I'm going to go and get some bananas, which means I can make the South Indian breakfast called puttu for myself, which is also very exciting. But believe me, the most exciting thing is being able to stand and to walk in a balanced manner without any excessive pain. It's just fantastic. And to realise that being shut down when I arrived back home had far more of an implication and a consequence than I actually realised. It did throw my entire body and system out of balance. And I'm so grateful to the person for doing it for me, because as a result of the therapy, and I now am free of this and have so much more understanding about what actually happens. So all the love to you as I go off to get my breakfast ingredient